with all the formalities, it is important that we first remind ourselves that safety comes first. Please join me in welcoming Mr. W.P. Pretorius, our CSR representative that will take us through and share the briefings on the essentials of the safety moment. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the CSR International Convention Center. I'm V.P. Pretorius, Safety and Setup Coordinator of the center. Before you proceed, I'm just going to give you a couple of health protocols as well as evacuation protocols of the center. Kindly make use of our hand sanitizer stations located within the venue as well as the communal areas as frequently as possible. Should you fall ill or require medical attention, kindly report to the reception, whereby a first aid facility as well as qualified medics will be made available to you. In the unlikely event of an emergency, an alarm will sound throughout the building. Trained responders will give instructions on evacuation. Stay calm, take only belongings that you can carry. Walk in an orderly manner, do not run. Responders will lead you to an emergency exit, then to the assembly point. Restrooms are available throughout the building. Please look out for the signage. As this is a public building, please do not leave your valuables unattended. Free wireless internet access is available throughout the building. Please select free CSR ICC on your device. No password is required. For assistance, please call on any of our staff members who will contact the technician to provide support. Thank you. Enjoy your session.
Thank you, Mr. Pretorius, for that safety moment. So please, ladies and gentlemen, we now are going to move to the next segment of our session today. So now, to add a touch of inspiration and artistry in our morning, we have a special performance that truly embodies the spirit of creativity and excellence. Please join me in welcoming the talented choral and solo performers from our very own National School of Arts South Africa Choir. For over 50 years, this unique secondary school has been advancing talents of creativity with gifted learners from across South Africa. Today, they grace us with their harmonious voices, setting a perfect tone for our conference today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the National School of Arts Choir as they come on stage to perform. Thank you.
Bulawa isenzo sabasenzi. Izami yezigena sabasenzi. Isonezwe niyazukazula nizugeze bashimi. Eliqala sisi. Sikita emanyane, sikiti machune. Okana kana lukhe. Ongenize sikutshele. Kula.
Thando
Sei
So we are moving along with the program and beginning the official part of today as we transition from the arts to the science. So I would like us to dive into the program of today because we have lost a lot of time. We will proceed with today's proceedings. So the session that we have today is a celebration of South Africa's 30 years of democracy and the remarkable progress we have made in space science and technology. We will be hearing from our leaders from different organizations, from different departments in the field, who will share their insights on how space technologies have contributed to national development, enhance our democratic achievement, and have laid the groundwork for sustainable innovation. But let me first acknowledge in our presence the Chief of the South African Air Force, Lieutenant Wiseman Bambo, the Director General of the Department of Science and Innovation, Mr. Dan du Toit, the CEO of the South African National Space Agency, Mr. Humbulani Mudau, heads of space agencies that are gathered here today, heads of industries that we have, delegates, and the rest of the space community. I greet you all. So as we proceed with the next session, so thank you so much because I've been waiting with them for them to set up. So as we proceed today, to start today's proceedings, we would kindly request our panel for this morning if they can proceed to come up front so that we can start the proceedings of today. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. You may be seated. To start off our session today, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Mutodi Maserumule, who is the Group Executive for Advanced Production and Security at the CSIR. Dr. Maserumule will deliver the welcome address and share insights on CSIR space science and innovation activities. Dr. Maserumule, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. To the thank you, Program Director, to the DG of Department of Science and Innovation, Mr. Dan du Toit, Chief of the South African Air Force, Lieutenant General Wiseman Bambo, CEO of the South African National Space Agency, Wamudau, Mr. Humbulani Mudau, Professor C.S. Mostert, CEO of Space Commercial Services, the African heads of space agencies. I'm told that we have a good representation from the African continent. In addition to South Africa, we have Angola, represented from Angola, the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Egypt, Gabon, Ghana, Kenya, Namibia, and South Sudan. Hopefully I haven't left anyone out. Members of the South African Air Force, and the National Defense Force, industry leaders, esteemed guests, the space community, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure this morning to welcome you to the CSR campus. This campus has stood, it does predate the new dispensation. We are turning 8 years this coming year. So it was a creation of the state post-World War. Now, the conference is the second National Space Conference. It's organized by the National Earth Observation and Space Secretariat, NEOS, and the South African National Space Agency, SANSA, in collaboration with the South African Air Force. So we are delighted to host you on this beautiful campus. On occasion, you will run into a few bokkies, some running around. So it does, it does give you a relaxed feeling, even as we toil under the strain and the excitement of science, engineering, and technology. So, colleagues, you are in the ecosystem that has inspired generations of scientists, of engineers. In mid-20th century, there was an incredible space race that gave rise to technologies that are very cross-cutting. Anywhere from the internet to folks who choose to put their bodies under incredible strain running the Comrades Marathon while enjoying nice footwear. That is a result of the offshoot of the space technologies. So as we gather here today, we are hopeful that in the formative years of the new democracy in South Africa, and indeed as the African continent has decided to have a free trade agreement across from Cape to Cairo and from east to west, and as the youngest in terms of demographics, as the youngest continent on the planet, and given the storied effect of space to science, technology, innovation, and the economy. The economy as we know it, we wouldn't speak of the fourth industrial revolution without the effect of the space technology on the technology on the planet. As we do that, we are hoping that under the leadership of yourselves as space fundis, the African continent will find a way to trigger economic activity such that we can be admirable participants on the world stage in terms of economic activity, in terms of regional economic growth, in terms of national security. As you can see, for those of you who know, space is cross-cutting. We do have military men and women who hold strong interest in the success of space that has, over the years, strengthened the national security of nations, both developed and underdeveloped. And we hope that the young people who were giving us some nice music up here, some of them will be inspired to follow a career in space science and engineering so as to give rise to technologies of the future and the economy that Africa can be proud of. So, colleagues, mine is not a lengthy one. In terms of the CSR, The CSR, the first CEO of the CSR once shone in 1945 in the aftermath of the Second World War, wherein South Africa played a role in the formation of sensors that we now know as radar systems. He was tasked to start to be the founding CEO of the CSR. And today, just to latch onto that, today we have commercialized a radar system. We are commercializing a radar system that is wholly made out of, the core radar at least is wholly made out of South African IP from the CSR in collaboration with Hensel. A company was created, Hensel South Africa, so that these radar systems can be sold to the rest of the world while being manufactured in South Africa and shipped to the rest of the world. And we learned earlier this year that there were sales. The Royal Navy has procured 3 of these radar systems that are made in South Africa with African IP. And in addition to that, the same ecosystem that traces its roots from, actually it predates the CSR by a couple of years. We do have a group that participates quite ably in development of such space payloads as synthetic aperture radar and other payloads that the colleagues will speak of in the course of this conference. So for the South African and other African defense forces, what we wish for them is adequate strategic independence so that the sensors can be used to make the African continent safer. I noticed that we have, among the countries represented here today, they are military heavyweights. So we wish on them strategic independence. It is important for Africa to silence the guns. It is important for the countries that have incredible economic promise like DR Congo to live up to their potential because we have silenced the guns. And to do this, we know it's important for our national security infrastructure to hold its own, for us to be able to project force where it is necessary. We are running behind, ladies and gentlemen, as a continent. Some of our numbers are not looking good. In South Africa, we have unemployment rate that is north of 30%. And for the youth, the situation is much more dire. So, for me, an optimist through and through, I still believe that through an ecosystem such as this, we will get our act together and develop a continent that our children and children's children can call home, and indeed it be the envy of the planet. So we are, as the CSR, in collaboration with the Defense Force, the Air Force, in collaboration with SANSA and with the leadership of SANSA, we hope to take part in the development of the skills base, the technologies that will spur economic development, economic growth, industrial activity that can and should straddle the entire continent. Because for us, we will succeed when the continent succeeds. As part of this continent, and indeed with our friendships, both East and West, we hope to have a human capital development program that will give the African child the opportunity to compete on the global stage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do enjoy talking, but I will, with those few words, I encourage you, as you embark on this conference, to engage fully, share your ideas and insights, take full advantage of the opportunity to connect with one another, as this is the time to challenge ourselves, to think boldly, to think out of the box, and to explore new frontiers in space, science, and innovation. Now, to quote Carl Sagan, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. Let us make this conference the place where we discover that incredible something. Thank you all for being here, and I wish you a truly inspiring and productive conference.
Another round of applause for Dr. Maseru Mule. Thank you so much for that inspiring welcome and for setting the stage for today's discussions. Now, moving along with the program, next we have Mr. Dan Dutoit, who is the Acting Director General from the Department of Science and Innovation. Mr. Dutoit will provide introductory remarks on the progress of South Africa has made in space science over the past 30 years and the vision for the future. Mr. Dutoit, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Program Director, for that introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The dignitaries have already been acknowledged, but I specifically want to recognize the Chief of the South African Air Force, Lieutenant General Mbambo, and the CEO of the South African National Space Agency, Mr. Umlani Madou, and then our dear friends and partners specifically from Africa partner nations. My first task this morning, before my brief reflection, is just to bring you the very good wishes and the well wishes for this conference on behalf of my Minister, Professor Blayton Nzimande, who's South Africa's Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, and our Deputy Minister Nompolelo Gina. Unfortunately, neither of them could be here today, but South African National Space Agency forms part of the portfolio of entities they oversee in the government, and it's a portfolio that they follow with very specific and strategic interests. So also CEO Madou, you have the good wishes and the appreciation from our Minister for the excellent work which SANSA continues to do. What I want to do, as the Program Director said, is to just very briefly look at the role of space in the first 30 years of South Africa's democracy, and then look towards the future, the vision we have for the continued role which space should do. And I'm going to do that as a bureaucrat, as a government official, through a policy perspective. And then the word P is the policy is very deliberate because it starts with the word P, because I'm going to look at it through three angles. I'm going to look at it through purpose, I'm going to look at it through the angle of people, and the angle of partnership. So first of all, starting with purpose. Now, as Dr. Maseru Mule recalled, this building, this campus we are located here, I mean, probably predates most of us, if not all of us. And it is true that prior to 1994, the former regime did invest in science, technology and innovation, and in many areas significant capabilities were developed. But those investments and those capabilities were not developed to serve the interests of all South Africans. On the contrary, they were developed to sustain a regime whose objectives were largely those of repression, discrimination, and looking towards our partners elsewhere on the continent of destabilization. And that's one of the significant victories of 1994, is that the role of science, technology, and innovation, including space, placed in South Africa, in our society, completely changes. because since 1994, science, technology and innovation becomes an instrument and a resource which is there to serve the needs of all South Africans and advance South Africa as a whole. It's one of the legacies we can be very thankful for our founding president, former President Nelson Mandela, because it was under his leadership that was created the then Department of Arts, Culture, Science and Technology, which was really the first time South Africa had a government focus looking holistically what is the role science technology should play in our society, and then lay the foundation for our first investments and strategies with regard to the role space should play in democratic South Africa. Now, the objective in those years were very clear. Science, technology, and innovation should play a role to grow our economy, should play a role to address poverty, inequality, fight unemployment. But another role which we sometimes forget, and SANSA plays all of these roles, it should also be a role to inspire. It's also be a role to make South Africans proud and make South Africans dream. And that's what space science and technology does. I mean, it speaks very directly to our economic needs, it speaks to the needs of our society, but it's also a symbol of hope and a symbol of aspiration. So 30 years later, we are very proud. Yes, things were not always easy. There were many challenges. There are resource constraints, but we have a fully fledged national space agency. We have a vibrant and growing private sector, excellence in our academia, in the space science technology domain, and a conviction that whether it's through Earth observation, whether through satellite navigation, whether through satellite communication, space science and technology has a crucial purpose to play in the next phase of our democracy. Now, for the South Africans in the room, you hopefully had followed our president when he spoke during the opening of Parliament, and he announced that for the next 5 years, as a government, our priorities are going to be articulated about something which is called the Medium-Term Development Plan, which set 3 apex priorities for South Africa. First of all, and Dr. Masarimulu alluded to this, yes, we are aware the economy is not doing well, we have horrendous unemployment, so the first priority has to be to grow the economy, create employment. Second priority, continue to fight poverty, and improve the quality of living of all South Africans. And then as a third priority, make sure that the South African state as a collective, which is all forms of government, becomes truly a capable, a developmental, and an ethical developmental state. And in all 3 of those priorities, economic growth, fighting poverty, and reinforcing the capabilities of the state, all of us collectively, because we all of us collectively one team, has a crucial role to play, because space science and technology speaks to all of those 3 priorities. So over the past 30 years, we've had a clear purpose, and I do believe that that purpose remains valid, and it should be one we pursue with continued vigor. But then secondly, looking at people, and of course people is the most first of all, the people of South Africa is its most precious resource, but also for space. Our most precious resource is people, and probably the most precious assets are together here in this room. So of course we inherited expertise in 1994, and part of the wonder and the privilege we have of our transformation and our reconciliation, that in this collective enterprise of democratic South Africa, there's room and opportunities for everyone to contribute, including the expertise from the past. But our priority over the past 30 years is to grow that expertise and to specifically work that we broaden opportunities and very deliberately work at a transformation of the sector, addressing the imbalances of gender, the imbalances of race, the geographic unequal distribution of opportunities. And important progress has been made, but still much more must be done and will be done. And that continued work to ensure that we transform the sector, to ensure there are opportunities for everyone, because that's really what it's all about, is to unleash the collective potential of South Africa. And that will be a continued priority for us as government and a department, to invest in the people of the space science, technology and innovation sector. And let me then also use this opportunity on behalf of the department to thank all of you, whether in the public or the private sector, for the work you are doing. Often in difficult times, specifically those in the private sector, but we appreciate your commitment and the investment of your efforts for the space sector in South Africa. But then lastly, I said I would speak about purpose, I would speak about people, I also need to speak about partnership. We like to say in the Department of Science and Innovation that science knows no borders, And it's also true for space. There are no borders in space. And in this sector, I think more than ever, anywhere else, you cannot work alone. We progress if we work together, if we share experience, if we share expertise. That's how knowledge gets produced and knowledge advances. And that was, after the isolation of the apartheid years, for us an important priority to grow partnerships and to make sure that South Africa plays its rightful part in the international space sector. But it's not only about international partnerships. It's first of all partnerships between us in the public sector, in government, and Lieutenant General. That's why we really value the partnership with the South African Air Force, and I would like to thank the Air Force for its support, but also the other sister departments in government, provincial, local government. It's crucial for us to have public-private partnerships. That is a strategic priority for us, and we will continue to work with the private sector and to look at aspects such as incentives and regulations which we can invest to make the space sector grow. So it's all about that South African cliche, but it's a beautiful cliche that we're stronger together and that we are part of Team South Africa. But international partnerships also remains critically important. I want to acknowledge our friends from the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, who I see. If I miss any of the other diplomatic representatives, you also greeted. Just next week, at the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing, for example, there will be a number of agreements signed to further strengthen South Africa's space collaboration with China. But then a very special word of welcome. The different countries were mentioned, of our partner space agency elsewhere on the continent. The Africa Union's Agenda 2063 foresees a very clear focus on science, technology, and including in space. We are very proud as Africa that we now have an African space agency hosted by the government of Egypt, and I also want to commit the South African government is firmly committed and ready to deepen and further expand our partnerships in space with fellow African nations. This is truly, we believe, will be the African century, and we believe that African space organizations will play a critical role in that. So with those few words, ladies and gentlemen, that's our perspective, which hopefully you share, that all of us collectively here, the people of space, we have a very clear purpose to do, and we look forward to support you and work with all of you in partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. du Toit, for your insightful reflection on the democratic journey and the role that science plays in it. Moving along with the program again, it is now my honor to welcome Lieutenant General Wiseman Bambo, Chief of the South African Air Force, who will deliver the first keynote address on the role of space technologies in enhancing aviation safety and efficiency. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Lieutenant Bambo.
Mr. Dan du Toit, Acting Director, General Department of Science and Innovation, Dr. Rakishni Ramota, Acting Deputy Director General, Department of Science and Innovation, Dr. Mboneni Mufe, Deputy Director General, Department Science and Innovation, Mr. Umbulan Mdau, Chief Executive Officer, South African National Space Agency, Dr. Mutodi Maseremula, Group Executive Business Advanced Production and Security from CSIR, representatives from other African countries, members of the defense industry, members of the aerospace industry, members of space industry, members of the South African National Defence Force, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Maybe I said something wrong. Good morning to all of you. Thank you so much. I'm Lieutenant General Wiseman Bambo, the Chief of the South African Air Force. On behalf of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Ruzani Mapwanya, we as the members of the Defence feel honored to be invited as partners in the National Space Conference. It is an honor to stand here before you today to speak on a subject of immense significance: the role of space technologies in enhancing aviation safety and efficiency. In an era where skies are busier than ever and our dependence on air operation continues to grow, the integration of space-based technologies into military and civilian aviation is not just an innovation, it's a necessity. But before we talk about the role that space will play in ensuring safe, efficient aviation operations, I would like to take a moment to update you on the progress the South African Air Force has made since I last addressed this August grouping in achieving our journey to space. The South African Air Force is proud to be a partner in the South African Indigenous Launch Capability Steering Committee. As one of the founding members, this committee aims to harness the capabilities and innovations of our great nation to ensure that South Africa will have her own satellite launch capability before the end of the decade. The committee is a perfect example of collaboration as it brings together both public and private entities to achieve a national goal. I am sure that you will hear more of this endeavor from other speakers. We subscribe to Dennis Waitley's viewpoint, open quote, "No man or woman is an island. To exist just for yourself is meaningless. You can achieve the most satisfaction when you feel related to some greater purpose in life, something greater than yourself," close quote. Indeed, the value of synergy between public and private space entities for a common national goal is indispensable. The South African Air Force hosted a space display at the South African Air Force Museum Air Show in May 2024. This display brought together our partner government agencies under one umbrella as we showcased a small part of South Africa's space capability and history. We received positive engagements from both military and civilian visitors, and their enthusiasm showed us that the citizens of South Africa are fully behind the steps that are being taken by everyone here on the journey to the stars. I am also proud to announce that the required operational capability, which is the ROC, for a space-based sensing capability has been approved by the SANDF Operational Staff Council. I must congratulate Major General Matebula and the team for the excellent work they have done in steering this ROC through the approval process, and I challenge him to work more harder as quickly as possible with the rest of the SANDF project process. I am told that this team is almost ready to begin the next step according to the Department of Defense procurement process. And I must take this opportunity to applaud the Space Command Integrated Planning Team for their dedication and ambition. All of these activities have but one goal and focus: to enhance the operational capabilities of the SANDF, One key role in which space technology will definitely enhance the SANDF is within aviation safety, both military and civilian. Aviation, since its inception, has been marvel of human ingenuity. From the Wright brothers' first flight to the thundering jets that we will hear next month, by the way, over our own capital skies. Aviation has come a long way. But as air traffic has surged, so too have the challenges also advanced. Managing the complexities of modern air operations, ensuring the safety of passengers and crew, the efficiency of operations, and the environmental sustainability of the industry requires to look beyond traditional methods. Here, space technologies have emerged as a game changer. One of the most critical contributors of space technology to aviation is the development of satellite-based navigation and communication systems. The Global Positioning System, which is the GPS, for instance, has revolutionized air operations and air travel by providing precise location data. GPS allows aircraft to navigate with unprecedented accuracy. This not only enhances safety by reducing the risk of collisions, but also optimizes flight paths, reducing fuel consumption and emissions. Additionally, satellite-based systems like the Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast, ADS-B, enable real-time tracking of aircraft even in remote and oceanic regions where ground-based radar coverage is limited. This has drastically improved the ability to monitor and manage air traffic, reducing the likelihood of accidents and improving response times in case of emergencies. Communication networks established via space technologies will allow us to always be in touch with aircraft irrespective of where in the world they are. This will mean we are always able to monitor aircraft movements even through remote areas, and coupled with space-based navigation means that we can track and oversee all missions. Think of what these approaches will do in enhancing aviation transport and movement in the region and the continent at large. It's not prudent, and again I say it's not prudent. When you go to some destination in the African continent, then you are forced to travel outside the continent and then back again. The basis for the exciting future is here and slowly taking shape. Space-based technologies also play a crucial role in improving the efficiency of air travel. Weather satellites provide real-time data on atmospheric conditions, allowing airlines to plan routes that avoid turbulence, storms, and other weather-related hazards. This not only ensures a smoother flight experience for passengers, but also reduces fuel consumption by avoiding inefficient flight paths. Moreover, advancement in satellite communications have facilitated more efficient air traffic management. Data links between aircraft and ground control allow for the transmission of vital information in real time, enabling dynamic adjustment to flight plans and optimizing flow of air traffic. This reduces delays, cuts operational cost, and enhances overall efficiency of the aviation sector at large. The opening of the Space Weather Center at SANSA, Hermanus, now provides both real-time and weather predictions on solar activities. This will allow air traffic to ensure they are protected from solar flares and the impacts that will have on communications and navigation. As the world becomes increasingly aware of the need for the sustainable practices, space technologies offer solutions that align with environmental goals by optimizing flight paths and improving fuel efficiency. Satellite-based systems contribute to reducing the aviation industry's carbon footprint. Furthermore, research into space-based solar power and other innovative technologies holds the potential to revolutionize how we power aircraft in the future, moving towards greener skies. While the benefits of space technologies in aviation are clear, we must also acknowledge the challenges. The integration of these technologies requires significant investment, domestic and international collaboration, and a commitment to developing and maintaining the necessary infrastructure. Additionally, as we become more reliant on space-based systems, we must address concerns related to cybersecurity and the potential risk of satellite malfunctioning. However, the potential rewards far outweigh these challenges. By continuing to innovate and invest in space technologies, we can make air operations safer, more efficient, and more sustainable for future generations. The role of space technologies in aviation is transformative. They are not just tools for improving navigation and communication. They are the foundation of a new era in aviation, one where safety, efficiency, and sustainability are paramount. As we look to the future, let us embrace these technologies and work together to ensure that the skies remain safe and open to all and accessible to all. I am looking forward to seeing all of you at the upcoming second Air and Space Power Symposium, which will be held on the 17th of September in conjunction with AAD 2024. At the symposium, I will delve in detail on the progress and future path regarding the establishment of the South African Air Force Space Command. As we journey towards this exciting destination of the stars, we leave you with the words of Nelson Mandela in the famous book, Long Walk to Freedom, open quote. There were many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested, but I would not and could not give myself up to despair. As a united space team, we do not have surrender or despair as part of our vocabulary. I thank you.
Another round of applause. Thank you very much to the Lieutenant General Mbambo for your valuable perspectives, especially on how space technologies are vital for our national security, especially in aviation sectors. Thank you so much. Now for our second keynote address, I would like to introduce Mr. Humbulani Mudau, who is the Chief Executive Officer for the South African National Space Agency, who will be speaking to us on SANSA's decade of innovation in space science. A round of applause for him as he takes the stage.
Thank you, Lulu. Good morning. Bonjour. Bonjour. Vous allez bien? Ça c'est bien. Jambo. Charles, you're being very naughty. I know Kenya can't hide, so we'll find you wherever you are. But just to say, DG, thank you. General Mbambo, Bomasarumule, Bomope, Dr. Rakeshni. I also would like to acknowledge the chairperson of the board, Mr. Ndlovu, and the board members. Welcome. I'm going to start from my dear brother from Angola and my friend from Namibia, my compatriot from the DRC, my dear brother, Dr. Sedki, from ICSA, the Egyptian Space Agency, and Monami Abu from Gabon Space Agency, and our dear brother who probably we can just cross, it's around the corner, from Zambia, and the professor, the one and only, from South Sudan, and the brother from Ghana, and my sister from Uganda. Charles is being naughty, but he's sitting somewhere there. I know that William, sisters and brothers from Malawi have arrived as well, and we are really excited to host you. Since Sunday, it's been an amazing journey, DG. Just having this engagement and having an assessment of the capabilities as well as the capacity that we have in this country and space. So I'm very honored today to stand before you as we discuss the future of space exploration. And I'm deliberate when I talk about space exploration because that's where Africa should be heading. And its vital role in shaping the destiny of our beloved continent, Africa. This is not just a meeting of minds, it is a call to action. A call to embrace the boundless opportunities that space offers for Africa and for the empowerment of our people. Africa is at a pivotal moment in its history. As we navigate the complexities of the global challenges, it is imperative that we harness the full potential of our natural and intellectual resources. Investing in a Pan-African space program is not a luxury. It's not elitist. It is a necessity. It is through space science and technology that we can unlock new avenues for industrialization and reindustrialization of Africa, manufacturing, ICT, driving our economies forward in line with the goals of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Science and Technology Strategy, STISA, which is currently being revised, DG, of course, as well as the broader vision of Agenda 2063. These frameworks are not mere documents. They are roadmaps to a future where Africa, as a global leader in innovation and sustainable development, should really make use of. Our continent is rich in natural resources. My compatriot, we're very rich in natural resources. But the true wealth of Africa lies in our ability to transform these resources into technological advancement that serve our people. The Pan-African Space Program can be the engine that powers this transformation. By developing our capabilities in satellite technologies, Earth observation, and space exploration, we can address critical issues such as food security, energy production, and environmental sustainability. I just want to say, sub-Saharan and most of the continent will be hit very hard by climate change, because climate change poses one of the greatest threats to Africa's development, particularly to the sub-Saharan region. With its vast and diverse landscapes, Africa is particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change, including droughts, floods, changing weather patterns, and SANSA's space-based technologies are at the forefront of efforts to combat these challenges. Our satellite data provides critical insights into weather patterns, helping farmers adapt to changing conditions and improve crop yields. We support disaster risk reduction by providing early warning systems and real-time monitoring of natural disasters, ensuring that governments and communities can respond swiftly and effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, space technology is essential for managing water resources, a crucial concern in many parts of Africa. By monitoring rivers, lakes, and groundwater from space, we can ensure that this vital resource is used efficiently and sustainably. As we are already in the fourth industrial revolution, the integration of space technology with emerging digital technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, the Internet of Things, big data analytics, and advanced robotics, as well as social sciences and humanities, becomes increasingly important as we move towards the provision of what we call Earth intelligence. These technologies are not just enhancing our space capabilities, they are revolutionizing how we respond to challenges on Earth. Over the next 3 days, we will demonstrate how we are harnessing space, science, and innovation for sustainability, and will further showcase the value that South Africa is deriving from government's deliberate efforts in supporting our national space program. In this regard, I would like to acknowledge recent investment made by the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation and National Treasury to bolster capacity for the effective implementation of South African space activities. You will recall at the inauguration of the National Space Conference last year, I alluded to the rising of a new era at SANSA, an era geared towards strengthening our engineering capacity and capability, the development of Earth intelligence tools to expand our value-added services, expanding our space operation services to support deep space exploration missions, establishing a fortified space weather capability through expanded applied research. Today, I'm delighted to report that we have indeed increased capacity in all our programs through new hires ranging from engineers in various domains, junior remote sensing scientists, and portfolio managers. We have concluded the contracting of commercial data providers for the acquisition of national high spatial resolution imagery to support government programs. Furthermore, in the coming few weeks, we will be announcing the winners of the funding support for our very proud Neo Frontiers program. And we'll be launching the second round of innovation support instrument to the tune of 15 million. This is very critical for startups, for new entrants, for transformation, and of course for bringing youth and women to contribute to the National Space Program. Our goal is to support the innovative development of a globally competitive space industry that will adequately service South Africa's societal grand challenges. The construction at our Deep Space Network site is taking shape, and our newly established 24 Space Weather Center is fully operational, servicing the African continent with pride. We are excited to inform you that as we advance in developing our local space capabilities, we are also fortunate to have established and nurtured global relations that are beginning to present opportunities for South Africa to play in areas such as human space flight, lunar exploration, space situational awareness and space traffic management, indigenous launching capabilities, and disruptive innovation techniques in areas that were otherwise not easily accessible to developing countries with limited space budget. The growth of SANSA is an incredible ongoing journey driven by commitment to harness space technology to support the development agenda of our government by offering groundbreaking quality services to the citizens of our country and the African continent at large. None of this achievement will be sustained without investing in our people. And therefore, inspiring the next generation is a non-negotiable for SANSA as we start building this pipeline talent. We must inspire the next generation of African scientists, engineers, and space leaders. This inspiration must begin early, reaching out to every child, particularly those in underserved communities. I want to take a moment to speak directly to the township girl or a village girl who may be listening today. To you, I say, the sky is not the limit, involving not only government and academic entities, but also including our commercial space industry and general population. This comprehensive approach will guarantee that the benefits of our progress extend to every part of our country and in the African continent. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we must continue to be unwavering in our dedication to promoting space science and technology to improve our communities, enhance quality of life, and guarantee sustainable progress for future generations. As one unified nation, we can fearlessly explore space and discover the endless opportunities that exist beyond our imagination. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mudau, for sharing SANSA's journey in advancing space science in South Africa. Thank you so much. Moving along with the program, we now still have 2 items that are left for us before break. We will move on to the highlight presentation, which will be presented by Dr. C.S. Mostert, who is the founder and CEO of Space Commercial Services. Dr. Mostert will provide an overview of South Africa's industry journey in space science and innovation. Dr. Mostert, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And as I've been taught by my government colleagues, all protocols observed. Yes, so I've been asked to give an overview of the South African space industry, but allow me to introduce one of the new startups, SAS Space, and what we do. So we focus on space infrastructure development, and now one can ask, what on earth is that? No, it's in space. We do 3 things. We have 4 things, in fact. We have a core capability in engineering services, and it's the higher level engineering services, because you will hear about all the other members of the South African space industry. We actually build satellites, but slowly. We build it so people can learn, because we do a lot of hands-on training, and then we use all these skills and we actually develop space infrastructure. Now, what is space infrastructure? We'll come to that as we go along. And we do the space infrastructure in partnership with many countries, and many countries also in Africa. But let me give you a view of the South African industry. So this is a supply chain picture that came out of a study by the Department of Trade and Industry some time ago, I think 2019, just before COVID, lockdowns. And just look at all those blocks of all the bits and pieces that form part of the ecosystem of the South African space ecosystem. Unpacking it, research and development. One of the core activities, you heard the word innovation a number of times, Stellenbosch University, Cape Town Peninsula University of Technology. But so in the same vein, Cape Town University, UCT, University of Cape Town, they have been nurturing the radar capability that you have heard about earlier today from the CSIR. And tomorrow you will see a lot of the SAR, synthetic aperture radar activity that is being done in South Africa, and that's a result of UCT nurturing that. But at the same time, at Wits University, they are developing propulsion systems. Every now and again, there's a PhD student with a propulsion system. At UKZN, they're actually building complete launch vehicles and sounding rockets. At Pretoria University, they are doing things in coding and communication technology, and so I can go on. All the universities actually contribute. Then we get to one of the major success stories, subsystem and component manufacture. Well, we don't have one optical payload supplier in competitively global, we have two. And assuming that the people that told me this information, I didn't verify it, that between them they've got 90% of the market, global market, for small optical payloads for nano and micro satellites. Amazing, amazing. We've been working with the CSIR since 2015 to get into space with a SAR payload, synthetic aperture radar payload. And I, from the conversations I had yesterday, I think, well, we've been working with them very closely in one of the space infrastructure projects, Fleet SAR, and we know by 2027 we'll see something in space. ADCS components, again, we have in fact two companies who are providing ADCS components. The one have provided no less, shall I say their names as well? Yes, sure. So I've talked about Samira, Sense, I've talked about Dragonfly, I've talked about the CSIR by name. So now I'm getting to New Space Systems. So New Space Systems has supplied more than 2,000 components that's flying in space. They have an order book of 8,000. They're supplying components to around 20% of all the satellites that are launched in the world. Incredible. ADCS systems. We have a company that provides ADCS systems. Is CubeSpace here? I haven't seen them yet. So they sell most of the university satellites in the United States of America, you know them, are actually coming from South Africa. Remarkable. Both of those companies have recently received investment money. High-speed data. We have, in fact, two companies providing high-speed data, 2.5 gigabits per second, if you want to be that fast. CubeCom is the smaller company, and of course, Dragonfly also has it on their catalog. But we also built satellites. Now, it turns out that building satellites is a little bit more difficult than building components. And we'll come back to that. We'll circle back to this, because this is one of the conundrums of the satellite industry. But the team, Dragonfly Aerospace, supply complete satellites. Astrophica provide AIT services. Of course, SES Space also provides smaller satellites. And then, in fact, two companies that are represented in South Africa. One is Clyde Space and one is ISIS BV, ISIS Space BV, who also provide nanosatellites. Ground stations. The SANSA space operations have a long history in operating, building, deploying, temporary deploying ground stations. There's even private ground stations coming up in the context of Pink Matter. But what underpins this, so people ask me, so why is this African space possible? It's because we've been doing human capital development since 1990. 1990, people were sent overseas. 1991, it was talk about establishing a program at Stellenbosch University. 1992, it actually kicked off. And we spent 97 years building Sunsat, the very first satellite in South Africa. But we didn't stop there. Today, Stellenbosch University is still producing graduates that are doing their master's theses on satellites, on space technology. CPUT have joined that. UCT are doing that. And that's in fact the heart of why it's possible. Then, of course, in 2010, 20 years after we started the space industry outside of the defense industry in South Africa, SANSA was formed. And the DSI is in support, and there's the South African Council for Space Affairs. And the question is, how does those institutions contribute to making space and the benefit of space more sustainable in the context of South Africa? But it's all about the end users, and that's why I'm really impressed. Last year when I came to this conference, I said, what? The room is full. It's incredible. I must compliment NEOS for nurturing the process of people understanding how space can benefit to them. But the missing link in this chain is the space infrastructure development. So we have tried. In 2003, we started the process with Nigeria, Kenya, Algeria, and South Africa to form the African Resource Management Constellation. Multilateral agreement signed in 2009. In total, 3 satellites were actually built as part of that, 1 by Nigeria and 2 by Algeria. South Africa is building its ARMC satellite now, 2024, 25. So to establish space infrastructure is really difficult because one satellite doesn't constitute an operational capability. Oh, did I say something wrong? Yeah? But that's the hard reality. One satellite proves that you have mastered the technology. One satellite proves that you have the team that can do it. But as Dr. Moses Cho told me earlier this morning, it's so sad that Mandela had such a short lifetime because it doesn't allow users to get operational access to data. And that's the heart of the solution. You need space infrastructure to get users' operational data. Otherwise, Treasury have a hard time motivating why do you want money to build your second satellite? Okay, but in Africa, we're just part of a big family. And you can see of the 58 countries, this is Space in Africa's information, 55 satellites have been built by African engineers. Looking at it the pictorial way, there's some satellites built in Algeria, in Egypt. There's satellites built in Nigeria, in Kenya. There's 1U satellites built in a number more countries. But in the South African context, there's in fact 2 lines of satellites. The one satellite is the microsatellite range. So Sunsat was 1999. Mandela Sat was launched in 1999. EOS Sat is a private satellite. Was launched, Brian, last year. Yeah, 2023. But below that, you'll see a family of nanosatellites coming up. So those satellites, the first one, Tsepiso Sat, was built at CPUT. NSITE 1, and we'll circle back to NSITE 1, and Aerosat was built and launched in 2017 as part of the QB50 constellation. Then there were more satellites from CPUT, besides maritime domain awareness, also fire detection. It's a 3U satellite, and the last set of satellites launched from CPU-T is MDA Sat 1A, 2A, B, and C. So you can see there's a line of nanosatellites and a line of microsatellites, and each have their purpose. But what is the challenge? The challenge is the 10-year challenge. If you only have political satellite motivation, then you find that once every 10 years you can build a satellite. And that's very simple. It takes 10 years to forget. It's also why you have a financial crisis every 10 years. Same logic. So the challenge for a space agency, for all these emerging space agencies that we have here, including SANSA, we're a poster child in South Africa, I must say, is how do you create a sustainable space industry? So South Africa has figured it out how to, if you export components, then you can make it. And the answer is a systemic problem. See, government's happy to fund human capital development. I've in fact stated that this morning on stage a number of times. But government funds can only flow if you have economic impact. So you actually need operational data sets. Okay? And to get operational data set, you need space infrastructure. Okay? And countries want their own engineers to build their own satellites. So what you need to connect is this desire to support human capital development and actually get them into the space industry. You must actually get the government to also fund sufficiently building your own satellites. Now, if the satellites that you are building provides operational data, then the logic becomes clear to Treasury, and they're happy to support you as a space agency. So I'm just going to run through this. So this is what a sample sustainable space program looks like. Every year or every second year, you actually build a satellite building on top of each other, and many of these satellites actually collaborate to form operational data sets. This is actually the logic behind AgriSense, and of course, everybody is welcome to join. I want to close with this picture. So this picture was taken by InSight 1. It's only 2.5 kilograms. It's hardly a grown-up satellite. And this little camera, in fact, was the start of the camera revolution in South Africa, because for the first time, we didn't use a TDI or a long CCD. We used a matrix CCD. And some of the engineers who are in the room worked on this camera. And this camera, the optics, the focal plane of this camera actually forms the basis of the bulk of the export products that we are providing today. But just look at that, 2.5 kilograms, 30-meter resolution of farming areas in California. So when they complain on CNN that there's fires in California, you can actually look and see how much empathy you have to expend at them. Thank you so much. We celebrate the South African industry.
Let's give him another round of applause. Thank you so much for that comprehensive overview of our industry's achievements. You know, we can see that we have a rich heritage indeed, and it's really exciting. To close this session, we have a special launch event. It is my pleasure to introduce Prof. Moses Cho from the CSIR, who is a leading expert in remote sensing and precision agriculture. He will present and officially launch the Precision Agriculture Information System. The innovation system is set to revolutionize the way we approach agricultural practices in South Africa by integrating advanced space technologies. Prof. Cho, you have the floor.
Thanks, Lulu. I think you did a probably pretty good job to pronounce that name, Tse. My surname is quite short, but difficult to pronounce. If you want to get it right, think of Tsepu, and then the first part of Tsepu is my name, Tse. Thanks very much. I am Moses Tse, a chief scientist at the CSIR. I also lead a group called a Precision Agriculture Research Group, which sits within a cluster at the CSIR called the Advanced Agriculture and Food Cluster. And we also sit within a division, Advanced Life and Science and Chemistry. May I say, also follow the QOL protocol observed, and in the interest of time, Jumelang Saimbonani. So, exciting times for the South African agriculture. I'm here on behalf of the CSIR and on behalf of my team to present the Precision Agriculture Information System. We call it an inclusive precision agriculture information system. I will tell you why the system is all-inclusive towards the end of this video, which I will ask you to listen and pay attention to the voice that will tell us what this is all about.
CSIR researchers are introducing smart farming solutions to develop the country's agriculture and associated processing industries for inclusive and sustainable growth. Powered by 4IR technologies such as big data analytics, artificial intelligence, drones and other sensor technologies, which include satellites. The CSIR, in collaboration with the Department of Science and Innovation and the Agricultural Research Council, are developing a precision agriculture information system that will support farmers with near real-time information to enhance decision-making on the farm. These transformative technologies will help farmers, particularly on climate change-related issues, which include pests and drought, to labor management, as well as environmental monitoring. This is needed particularly for small-scale farmers whose productivity is easily affected by changes in the environment.
Farmers face a lot of challenges, including climate variability, increased cost of farm inputs, emergence of new disease, pests like your armyworms, water security issues. And so all these challenges, they impact on the productivity of the crop and also the profitability of running the farming operations. With this project, we are seeking to develop digital solutions that can mitigate the impact of these challenges on the actual running of the farm. We are using different remote sensing technologies to collect data on the farm. We have satellite sensor in space that regularly collects data. Satellite sensor, for instance, like Sentinel-2, they collect images on Earth every 5th day. And we can also deploy drones. The drone data can be used for monitoring the crop condition, the soil condition on the farm. And so we are able to collect high-resolution images with a drone that can show us in details the condition of the crop, and we are able to see areas where the crop could be suffering from nutrient stress or disease stress or water stress. So that's the type of information that can be extracted from the drone data.
By investing into precision agriculture systems, the project aims to improve the agricultural sector by assisting government with achieving some of the Sustainable Development Goals and attract young people into farming.
Thank you. So it is a system that we've developed and it's inclusive, and our goal is to encourage and enhance and foster precision agriculture in the country. And from that picture there, that's a map of a farm somewhere in Vereeniging. That's about 100 hectares. And you can see that we can generate a map of the nutrient distribution and variability across that farm. And that farmer can then apply fertilizer according to that map. That will help the farmer to minimize the cost of the input, and the end goal is more money into the pockets of the farmer. And this is information that small-scale farmers and new commercial farmers into the sector have hardly have access to. So the Precision Agriculture Information System, as we heard in the video, is very inclusive. Inclusive in a sense that we have taken time to craft the system in such a way that it responds to the needs of everyone, from the small-scale farmers to the commercial farmers. Both the young and the older generation farmers can use the system. We've tried it in the field for over 3 years. The commercial farmers and non-commercial farmers can also use the system, but the system will encourage the new farmers to get into the commercial space. It's a system that can be used by both men and women. It's a system that is valuable to both the upstream and downstream users, from your farmers to your input suppliers, your fertilizer, your seed suppliers, to your banks, financial institutions that want to de-risk their operations. That is how inclusive the system is. And today we're launching the system because we want to then open the system to the public. And we've worked with our colleagues in the defense unit of the CSIR to ensure its security, to ensure that the data that goes into the system is secure. We don't want private data to end up in public space. So there's a login page, and when you log in, you will enjoy a very, very simple system, but very rich in information content. For example, there you find a map of soil pH distribution across a field that helps the farmer to understand the field and where to apply lime. And you find in the drop-down menu there, you find other soil variables that can be displayed, and we can provide the statistics. The system provides the statistics over that field. And one of the interesting variables we're predicting is the crop yield 2 months before harvest. This is dead accurate for maize, as we'll hear from one of our farmers who is present here today. And so the farmer can already plan their business operations, where they will have to maybe rent a space in the silos, or can already begin to discuss with their business partners on how they will commercialize their product. I think I would invite one of our esteemed farmers who've worked with her for over 3 years, and she's had on-the-ground experience with the Precision Agriculture Information System. Who can better talk about this system and how valuable it is than Mama Maria Malango of Asake Agricultural Enterprise, close to Bronco Spirit. Mama, you're welcome on stage.
Dumelang, Sanbonani, good morning, Goeiemorgen, and all protocol observed. My name is Maria Mahlangu from Bronxspruit, Farm 102 in Rooiport. We farm on 400 to 500 hectares of maize. Before I can share everything, I'd like to apologize on behalf of my husband, who could not be with us due to some commitments on the farm. And I thank the Almighty for leading my path to him, because if it was not of him, I could not be standing here being a farmer. First of all, I like to thank this innovation of science to our farms, to us as Asake Cooperative. We first met Mr. Sabelo was before the 20s, before even Corona, where we were farming very hard and then not having this information. And then farming was very, very painful, because we take our services, our loans, put it on the land that will not produce any form of proper yield. But thank to God and thank for SAB breweries, because when I met Sabelo, it was when we were planting maize for SAB to produce liquor. Yes, it's true. We have been through thick and thin. It is a milestone. But we are not making any money. We are just making peanuts. And we are not planting the expected hectares because the acid on the ground was too much. And then we could not even know, because this information was really hidden to us. It was painful. You can see being a farmer is not a nice thing. You take risk always. But the introduction of the CSIR to us, farmers, when they came there, it was painful, guys. They come with maps to our farms, start explaining to Maria, you see this red, this yellow, this what. It was very not interesting. It was very, Sabelo, we are wasting my time. Because we just want to work and get what we want. But because ukuthuta kancane, that's why always I say farming needs people who have passion. And farming doesn't need any popo people. We are awufuna ukuvuka wele futhi. Kosuwe uvuka uthatha uhambe. So through these things sithethe sahamba. And siyahamba. We are going and we will be going. Thank you for inviting us to come and share the true story of the matter about this. We were planting about 100 hectares when we started 50, 100, and then we were doing only 2 tons per hectare. So painful, so disappointing. But came now the CSIR. We now can plant and produce 8 tons. That's average on a dry land. It's because we did have that passion and the diversification method to implant on our farm, to do it practically so. Because planting the maize right through, they were not even improving the acidity on the soil. So they came with the diversification formula of saying, why can't you put something else? Something else is what? Because when you don't have money, you become crazy. You become just like a mad somebody. Then we said, okay, we do what? Okay, something like legumes. So you think of soya now. Then we planted soya. Then our fields are busy and now going down with the acid that is there. Brongospruit has a lot of acid because remember we have the mines next to us. So our soil is very as biosir. So they told us everything we have learned. You don't even not go into the books. We just think, oh, Konje, last time they talk about this, the pH, blah, blah, blah. So we even talk better with our suppliers. We are putting 3 bags per hectare of fertilizer 434. Now we're doing better. We can put even 5 because of the climate change we're experiencing on daily basis and the dry seasons we're having. And this army round, the army roundworm, they're eating our fields. We are now not planting the non-BR. We are planting the BR because we are afraid of the worms. Because of these technologies, we are now going up. But you just pray hard. Because I told Mr. Moses, there's nothing to write. I don't have a story to prepare. The story is me. So, by so saying, I just say to the government and the people concerned, to the people who are busy with the CIR, please, because it's nice to launch something when it's being launched. The government and all those officials, the people with charisma will just take it out, say, no, it's not working. For us, it's really working. The space guy, Mr. I forgot, it's really working. So with these little few words of mine, I really want to tell you guys that please, whatever politics, whatever you come across with, don't remove this to our farmers because the country will die of hunger. I thank you all.
Yeah, I'm in tears, friends. And that's been the story. Mom even linked us to FMB. And FMB, she forced FMB to have a meeting with us. Colleagues even from NetBank had to be present here today. They were sent an invite. They requested to be present here. I hope they are present in the hall. So that just tells you that this is an inclusive system. Potato SA, Citrus Grower Association, even macadamia farmers are now talking to us to ensure that this system can be used to ensure that every crop, every farmer in this country can enjoy the precision agriculture information system. And as we launch this system, some of the main actors behind the system are present here today, even on stage. I will start with my good friend, the CEO of the Space Agency, Mr. Humbulani Mudao. When we presented a concept to him, he didn't hesitate to say, CSR, Moses and your team, march ahead. I will do what I can with the department, and he convenes the department and mobilized resources to support the development of the system. The CSR Exco, we did a number of presentations to the Exco to convince the CSR Exco that indeed this is something that the country needs. And they put in quite a lot of resources in the past 3-4 years for us to get to this point. We will not forget the many farmers across the country who have collaborated with us, because all of this needs calibration of the satellite data with ground information. We couldn't have achieved this without strong collaborations from farmers and farming associations, FarmSol, and you can name the rest, and from individual farmers who've generated data to build a system that is now accurately predicting. The soil, the crop yield map is, I say, for maize is dead accurate. Each time a farmer predicts the maize, they get goosebumps because it's dead accurate. So we want to thank the DSI, the CSIR, the ARC, and all our collaborators who have supported us. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a stand at the exhibition area where you can go and interact with the Precision Agriculture Information System. Everyone, please go and have an experience with the system. It doesn't matter. You need no knowledge of remote sensing or GIS. We've made the thing simple. And our new program, colleagues and the director of SANSA, is empowering every farmer in this country to have access to the Precision Agriculture Information System. That's our mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Te. I hope I've said it correctly this time. For that enlightening presentation. And thank you very much, Mayor Maria, for inspiring us. And I'm sure now we have half of the audience going to adventure into farming. So I hope that is what we will get. So this brings us to the end of our opening session. But before I let our speakers leave, we would like to firstly extend our sincere thanks to all our speakers this morning for their contributions. Their insights have not only highlighted the progress that we've made, but they have also inspired us that we continue on leveraging space technologies for the benefit of South Africa and beyond. But before I let them go, I have something small from the organizing committee that we have to give to you before we let you go, we let you off the stage. Thank you. For the photograph to the Chief of the South African Air Force.
No, I'm not delivering the second speech, no. I'll be handing over here a gift from the South African Air Force. We are very optimistic. Despite all the challenges, we are very optimistic that the challenges that we can see now are not blinding us to see where we want to go. And this is the spirit in the Air Force. We are forging ahead to be the space power Air Force. So this is the symbol here. And the slogan that we have, it says, "Free the Eagle." When we say free the eagle, it's actually a mindset thing. That you need to free your mind if you want to get somewhere very high. You can't get there if your mind is closed. Actually, the mind works like a parachute. It works well when it's open. So it's a free the eagle. I want to present that to you, Vici. Yes.
Thank you for that inspiration. We look forward to the program. Thank you very much.
It happens a lot that everybody is thanked, but the one who is driving the ship is not thanked, but we want to correct that. To the program director, I want to say thank you.
On that note, on a high note on my side, you know, we just have just a few things within the time of the break. The first one is the photograph that we would like to take as a group outside with the hope that everybody can fit. And we are also asking kindly, our opening ceremony speakers, if they can join us in that photograph, we would really appreciate. And secondly, we have an exhibition that is on the right-hand side, which is really a true display of, South Africa's companies, organizations that are involved in space activities. We would want to invite you to that side where we will be having the morning tea. So I would like to thank all of you for the attention and engagement, and we are looking forward to meaningful discussions that will continue throughout the conference. Thank you so much.